वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलाधरोस्तात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखादरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वम् अहं न जाने. Welcome to the scripture class, and today's scripture is Uddhava Gita, conversation between Sri Krishna and Uddhava. And Sri Krishna's message to Uddhava, how to remain spiritual, how to retain the nature of the Atma and remain pure in this world where Maya tries to make us down and make us impure and bound and ignorant. In that, how can we retain our nature of purity and our divine nature? That was Uddhava's thing, because Sri Krishna was terminating his Leela in this earth, and how would Uddhava live? That was Uddhava's question. In answering this question, how to remain spiritual in the world when God will not be there, Krishna will not be there to guide him. So Krishna brings the story of Yadu and the Brahmana or Avadhuta, how they were talking, and Yadu was the ancestor of Krishna's lineage, a very famous Vamsa. It comes Yadu Vamsa, we call Yadu was that king. And he met that Brahmana who was very realized soul. And he was happy, young, powerful, detached, all blissful, living in the world, and yet nothing worldliness does that person. And Yadu, seeing that Brahmana, realized he is a very special type of person, God realized person. He approaches him and he says, "How you are so happy in the world? You seem to be fearless and always blissful. Who is your teacher? Who taught you about the knowledge? Where did you get the knowledge?" And then this Avadhuta or Brahmana, he says about the Guru. He says, "No, anybody I had to learn from anyone, but I learned from the nature that I observed, and they became like my Guru." In fact, there are 24 things in the world of born of nature, some living, some non-living. From them, I learned the knowledge by which I could understand the truth or reality. And in that, he says that who are these 24? The first one he says, Bhumirapo, Bhumirapo Nayo Vayu. In that verse number in Madhavanji's book, the verse number is Prithvi Vayurakasham Apognis Chandrama Rabihi. The first of the verse, which in four lines describes 24 gurus. And Prithvi Vayurakasham Apognis Chandrama Rabi. So what are the gurus? First few gurus are Prithvi, Vayu, the air, and Akasha, the sky. Akasham, Apo, water, Agni, fire, Chandrama, the moon, and the sun. From all these things, he gathers spiritual knowledge. How the great realized person should be like them. That is the thing that he gets. What will happen after realization? One will be like Prithvi, will be like Vayu or air, will be like Akasha, will be like Apa or water, will be like fire, will be like moon, will be like sun. How can this be related? So this is the in-depth of the thought of this Brahmana, this Avadhuta, that he finds everywhere the spiritual message. Everywhere he finds the perfection of the human being reflected in those things that he observes. Like in Prithvi, we saw that how he says, like Prithvi, the earth and the thing that is growing on it, like the mountain is stable, it is immovable, the trees are ever enduring, the grasses are very humble, like those these qualities of the different things of the earth, uh, realized soul, in them also this is to be found, this quality is to be found. Everything of the nature, he finds something spiritual knowledge, something spiritual quality that realized person will have. And after seeing this and finding a great spiritual quality in these things. Prithvi Vayurakasam Apo Agnis Chandrama Ravi. So Prithvi we already read, Vayu also we said how it is not contaminated by any pollutant. It carries good and bad weather, bad odor, but it is himself not affected by that. It just carries. It is not untouched by that. Vayu is Vayu. Whenever those particles of those essence or those odors or those fragrances are gone, Vayu remains same Vayu. It is not affected by the thing. Like that, the rishi should not be affected by the thing that which it is associated. It may seem like polluted, but it is not really polluted. That's what we learned about Prithvi and also about Vayu. And the Vayu that moves outside, Vayu as the prana, how these different life forces that the air that we intake, how it activates the life forces, remaining detached, unattached with the thing, and yet producing so much action in the body, so much action in the world, yet being detached and like the witness of the thing. That is the example this Avadhuta found from this Prithvi and Vayu. Prithvi, Vayu, Akasham. So today it will be about the Akasha. So let us see. Verse number 42. What about Akasha? Antarbahish Antarhitascha sthira jangameshu brahmatma bhaven samanvayena vyaptav masangamatmano munir nabhastvam vitatasya bhavet. The Muni should think oneself as the sky, spread out, all pervading. That is my real nature. It should feel. The sky teaches us to be broad, all pervading. Like that is the real nature of the person. Antarhitasya stira jangameshu. So even though living in the body, the sage, through his identity with the self, should reflect on the unity. What are the things? Antarhitasya sthira jangameshu. Though living there, this is the unity, non-attachment, brahmatma bhavena samanvena, vyapta avachedam asangam atmano. It is vyapti, it is all pervading. It is indivisible. Avacheda means abhyavached means there is no gap, there is no division. It's all one. Unity is there. Akasha as such is undivided. Though it may seem that we often say, oh, it is our space, it is a Canadian airspace, and it is US airspace. But in fact, sky is not divided. It is one. There's nothing division there. It's our imagination we divide even the space according to the country that we live in. So, but the space is not divided like that. Muni is not divided at all. The real Atma is undivided, abhyavacheda, and it is asangam. Like space, so many things are there, but nothing can touch it at all. It is so subtle, nothing that lives in the space. Everything is in the space. Like that's how the Atma, everything in the Atman. Atman is all pervading. Whole universe is in myself. That is the idea of a Muni, one who has realized the self. Like the sky, everything is me. But nothing external really pollutes or affects the person. Like the example given to this is, as something happens to the world, some wrong happens. Does it affect the sun through it that people see? Something we see right or wrong, good thing and bad thing. For the eye, nothing happens. Eye is not affected. Just it sees and goes. What is affected by seeing good and bad is the mind. Mind is definitely affected. So eye is not affected by what we see. So that's how Akasha is. In Akasha, everything is there, good and bad. It is not affected. Like the Muni should not be affected. No attachment. That's why it is said, asangam atmano muni navastam vitatasya bhavayet. Muni should think oneself wide, broad, all pervading, like Navatvam, like Navastvam, like this, like sky, one should feel. Antarhitasya sthira jangameshu, and um, it gives substratum through to all movable and immovable things. Sthira means what is immovable. Jangam means what is moving. This everything is in the space. Space gives them place well in. It is the substratum of all sthira jangama, and it is anta hita. Though it is in it, all this sthira and jangama are there. Like that, in ourself, in our atman, is whole this universe. So, like that, compare yourself with the atman. Atman is not that what dwells within our heart. Antarhites, it may feel that you are in the body, but it's not only in the body. It is all pervading. In the Atman is whole universe there. Whole everything is there. So many good things happening, so many bad things happening. Do they affect our Atman? No, Atman is not affected at all by what happens in the world. That in reality is within the Atman. Now, this Atman having all this universe, this world, so it also says that whole this universe, as we see, is in fact in the Atman as we visualize. It is our own perception of ourselves that appears as this universe. So everything that happens in universe doesn't touch the Atman itself. Atman is not touched by any evil that happens in our vision. The thing what anybody does or what anything does, atman, it cannot be affected like the space. It is compared with the space, how it is mm, what they call immune to the anything that happens, good or bad, doesn't happen. There's nothing can touch atman. Anything bad that happens cannot touch atman at all. Atman is like the sky. So many things can happen in the sky or the space. Nothing touches it. Space remains same, whether it is good or bad. Like that is the Muni should try to think of his soul or the Atman compared to sky. That's why sky is a wonderful example of Brahman. It is unchanging. It remains same, whether this earth is there and earth or earth is gone. Space remains same. Sun or solar system comes and goes. Space remains same. So space will not change. So that's how our soul also doesn't change if something comes or something goes. Soul is same, Atman is same. So and so many things happen in this world. That something change happens in the sky. Nothing happens. Sky is unchanged. So like that, many things may happen in front of us, but our Atman is never affected by that, never touched by that. That's why it is asangam Atmano. And Brahmatma Bhavena Samanvayena, and thinking of the Brahma Atma, the Muni thinks his Atma, his soul is the Brahman, all pervading reality. And what type of all pervading reality? Samanvaya. Samanvaya means all together, comprising harmoniously together in space. All exist, good and bad. When one becomes broad, that's why this what is good and what is bad doesn't bother. When small things of good and bad, praise and blame, those bother us, then we have to know that we are very far from the idea of Atman now. When one becomes broad like that, when it becomes like the sky in its understanding of oneself, then the people who are not so good also become very loving and kind. You treat them equally. Samanvaya happens to them, like Holy Mother. How broad and large was it? That's why it's called large-hearted person. What does it mean, large-hearted person? Like the sky is the example. In large-hearted person, they are very broad-minded, large-hearted, broad-minded. So what happens in large-hearted, broad-minded? The little things doesn't matter at all to them. They can treat all equally. That is large heartedness, and they can they are able to serve everyone without any narrow division of the human being. Oh, he's my relative and that is not my relative, that doesn't go. He's a good person, he is so kind to me, or he likes me, he praises me, and that person blames me. Those consideration doesn't happen when one is large hearted, or wherever he finds human beings, he tries to help them just by his nature or her nature. So that is what the large heartedness. So one, if mother becomes large hearted, she treats her son and her son's friends equally. That is what the samanvaya comes between two children born of my own house, my own womb, and the children born of other person, maybe with the neighbor, that neighbor doesn't like them or say something bad. But this mother, the large hearted mother, will have the same treatment for neighbor's son as she treats her own son. She has to be large hearted, she has to be broad minded, like Holy Mother. How she treated this Amjad as lovingly as she treated her jewel sons like Sarat or Naren or Brahmananda. She treated that, and she compares, as Sarat is my son, so Amjad is my son. So she brings only the example of Sarat. As why she brings the example of Sarat and why not others? One was Sarat was to be always with him, and it seemed that she was serving him. He was taking all care of Holy Mother, and he was very close to Holy Mother, and he was very pure, God realized person, Brahma Jnani, and very cool and gentle to the core. That was Sharat. And here is another ruffian, dacoit, robber, and that many things that one should not do. Very no good character, total different in worldly appearance. But Holy Mother says, both for me are my children. And not only that, her children, she treated both of them with same love and honor. Strangely, she used to feed Sharat Maharaj. She must be feeding so well. And this Amjad comes from the jail. He comes to Holy Mother. She feeds she feeds him with her own hand, and with her own hand she gives the food to him and cleans the place after he leaves the thing, and accepts the fruit brought by him for Sri Ramakrishna. No difference in her attitude, behavior, and feeling of heart and love, knowing fully this person is so different from him, from Sharat Maharaj. Otherwise, why would say, if she didn't find any difference between these two and found all her children to be same, she would not say. There was no need to say comparing this really comparable in two hemispheres. One was two directions. One was if North Pole, another was South Pole. But for her, both poles she could treat harmoniously and equally, samanvaya bhavena. That's how this large-heartedness comes when we become spiritually enlightened, spiritually progressing. What type of large-heartedness? And when we broad enough and realize Muni is the word given, then Muni becomes Nabha, like the Munir Nabhastvam Vitatas Swabhavayet. Muni should think oneself spread wide like the Navatastvam, like the sky, including everything, untouched by anything, and giving shelter to everything, finding there, but not treating anything alien. Oh, you are bad, go away from here. Not like that. So this is how the idea of Muni I got from sky. Everyone has seen sky before him also, after him also. But how many could relate the sky to the realization of God, to the spiritual growth, to the spiritual maturity? This is this Brahmana or Avaduta who could find so much thing in the sky that resembles the heart of a realized person. That there's so many qualities that sky represents: the man of knowledge, human being of knowledge, detachment, shelter giving, treating all equally, samanvaya bhavena, and without any attachment, asangastvam. That's how he got the message of spirituality from sky. That's why he said, "The sky is my guru." The sky is my one of the 24 gurus, and the verse again. to repeat the words. Prithvi Vayurakasham Apognis Chandrama Ravi. Let us see what he says about the Akasha again in another verse. Yes. तेजो वन्नमयैर भावैर मेघाद्यैर वायुनेरितैः न स्पृश्यते नभस्तद्वत् काल सृष्टैर गुणैः पुमान. Like that, this man, Puman, is not touched by anything like the sky. What is not touched by? Tejo up annamayer bhavai meghadeir vayuneritai. It is not touched by Teja. And Teja, up, Anna, Maya, and also Vayu. Actually, he brings the four of the five subtle elements, building blocks of this universe. Pancha Mahabhuta. What are they? Kshiti, up, Tej, Marut, Vyom. Akasa is the subtlest of that. Pancha Mahabhuta, the building blocks of this whole universe, according to the Vedic cosmology. They are the one who makes the whole universe. What are these? Vayu. First is Vayu. Etasmat Atmana, Akasha Shambhuta. From the self, from the reality, first thing to come is Akasha, subtlest of the five five bhutas, mahabhutas. One is Akasha, Ekatasma Akasha Sambhuta. And in Akasha, slowly more modification happens. Akashad Vayu. From Akasha comes the Vayu. Vayu Agni. From Vayu comes Agni. Agni Apa. From fire comes Apa or water. Adbhya Prithivi. From water comes Prithivi, solid. So first is the space. Then Atmana Akasha, Atmana Sambu, Tasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhuta, Akasad Vayu. From Apa comes air, something that is very fluid, like air, some material, there is motion. And then in Akasha, there is no even motion. Some another element who has the quality of movement, but very subtle and move very fast. Akasad Vayu, Vayu Rapa, it becomes more heavier and it becomes liquid. And it also flows, but it is more heavier than Vayu. From Vayu comes Apa. From Advya, Apasad Vayu, Vayu Ragni. From Vayu comes fire. Fire is the heat. That is another Mahabhuta that comes. Akasad Vayu, Vayu Ragni, Agne Rapa. From fire or from brilliance, from heat comes the liquid. That's how it is said in the Vedic cosmology of creation. From Advya Prithivi, from water or liquid comes the solid. This Prithivi comes. So in Akasha, all are there, and it contains all without any distinction. So that's why it says that Tejo Vannamayer Bhavai Meghadei Vayur Neditai. And here it says, as the sky is not touched by things which are the products of fire, water, and earth, nor by clouds driven by the wind. So it is not touched by other things made of other four cosmic elements or Mahabhutas. That's why he brought all four together. Untouched by anything. Nothing can touch this Akasha. And for Vayu, it said it is not touched by air in the sense the Vayu Neritai Meghai. It brings very poetical. It cannot be touched by fire or water, or Anna is represents the earth, or by the air, by the clouds brought by air. That also air also cannot touch. The Swami Vivekananda in his works he says that like the sky, which has different colors of clouds coming in it. Sometimes red clouds, sometimes white clouds, sometimes black, dark clouds, rain clouds. But space remains same. It is not touched by anything that comes to it. And sky remains same. Like that is the Rishi or the Muni, not touched by anything that passes through it. And he gives the example of five different Mahabhuta or cosmic elements by which move in it. It remains untouched by anything. Vayuneritai na sprishyate navas nava. Nava, the sky is not contaminated by anything that comes to it of any degree of construction, any degree of construction, any degree of complexity. It is not touched by anything. In that, the most complex is the earth, and then liquid, or the up, representing all liquid, and then by teja or vayu, nothing can contaminate this space. He says, Tadvat kala srishte gunai puman naisprasate. They are all made by the kala. They all come in time. So, like that, there are many qualities that come in time. Anything, time also doesn't have any effect in the mm, in the mind of the Puman. Is the Puman? The Puman means human being, the man. Here Puman is the realized person. Nothing can touch that person. Though it may come in time, different types of things may come, different types of thoughts may come, different types of situations may come, but that person remains unaffected by every situation, not affected at all. For him, everything just goes within his Atman. Nothing is permanent and affecting and touching that person. He becomes so broad that he finds everything happening within him. When one is so broad, like the sky, is able to accept everything in the nature. That is real spiritual maturity happening. All good and bad doesn't matter at all. So when little favorable and unfavorable situation affect us too much, then we know that we are not yet have grown to that height of spirituality where we we desire to lead to little things. In the road you are going, and a little crowd happened, and you are little late by 5 minutes to go to office, or to return to home, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and one becomes very road rage and all that. Why did I come? But for a realized person, or for a spiritually advanced person, nothing matters. It is there, it happens. Sometimes you go in time, sometimes road there are it is blockages are there, something happened, it will be late today, what to do? So by being disturbed and worried, you can do no good. You cannot just go away from there. You are there. So nothing should matter. So nothing should be powerful enough to disturb you. Then you become like Akasha. So that's how this knowledge of Brahman is often compared with Akasha. Akasha is also called here in Nava, was the word given here. Kha is the another word. And there was one devotee who used to come to Sri Ramakrishna, and he used to say himself as Kha. I am Kha. I am like Akasha. Nothing touches me. So maybe good or bad. Once what happened, he was not coming to Sri Ramakrishna. And he used to always say, I'm like Kha. I'm like Akasha. I'm Kha, he used to say. And he didn't come, and Sri Ramakrishna went to see him. He used to live in Dakshineshwar. And then Sri Ramakrishna said, what is the matter? You are not coming, no conversation, no coming, and dialogues. What happened about your spiritual dialogues? So he says, oh, don't tell me, I was in such a big trouble, and now this tax people came and I couldn't pay the tax, and they have given the notice they will take away all my things from the home, even all my cooking pots and utensils, they'll all take away because I couldn't pay the taxes. Then Sri Ramakrishna laughed and said, what does that matter to you? Let them take away the things when you could not pay the taxes. After all, you are Kha, you are Akasha, nothing touches you. Why should you be worried for something going away? Don't be worried like that. So what he used to say, I'm like Kha, but he was not really to that state. He used to just say. But the real recognition of a spiritual person is unperturbedness in all the situations. They are they are state they are of the steady mind, steadfast mind. They are very firmly grounded in their own self, and the little things in the world cannot affect them. So little things, everything that may be great for other may become little things. Swami Pramathanandji, he had no disease. He was healthy, thin, very thin, very little weight, but very strong. No disease he had. And finally, it was told that he became sick, and then doctors told him he had cancer. Now, cancer, and they said that you have 6 months to live. And naturally person don't think to die, and even monk also, they think that okay, um, ordinarily it will say it will take time. No, suppose if someone says to me, you have only 3 months to live. Oh, 3 months. Know that death can come any moment, but still now done, finally done, so time has come to go. You take time to prepare to death now. uh, so, and now you bring your all knowledge you had, the deities of the body, Atman is immortal, like that. So, little affect it may be depending on what level of spirituality a monk has reached or householder region. It's not about spirituality, it's not about the monk or householder. It is about the person, how much he has done. A monk can be not that spiritually elevated, and householder can be very spiritually elevated. So, that can be there. It depends on what is the spiritual depth that one has dived into. So Pramathanandi came. They said there is a cancer and time life is now very few left, 6 months. And by when the devotees heard that, they were doomed. They were so sad. They just drowned in the sorrow. Now Swamiji will not be there. Death is coming. He was so dear, loving, so gentle monk. Is now will be going away from us. That was a blow from the blue for them, bolt from the blue for them. And when they went to Swami Pramathanandji, he said, it's getting late. Warm the food. We have to eat. As if nothing has happened to him. Like sky, who was not affected by such a great change in life. The life was terminating in 6 months. Death was there. Whole thing would go away. But he said, can you warm the food, and we have to, now it's dinner time coming. Then what happened? Seeing him unaffected by this great information, great change, shocking information for this person who never was sick, and he was in 80s, he was not also that very old. Uh, they thought perhaps Pramathanandaji did not understand what doctor said, that it is now 6 months left. Otherwise, how one can be so unaffected by the news that death has come now, finally it is here? No affected, not affected at all. Normal behavior. Warm the food, we have to eat now. They very sad face and went, Maharaj, did you hear what doctor said? And he said, yes, yes, they said it is cancer. It is so fortunate I am. It is like the disease that Sri Ramakrishna had. Sri Ramakrishna gave up his body by cancer. And I am also having the cancer finally to be released from the bondage of this body, from the cage of body. How fortunate I am having the same thing as Sri Ramakrishna. Comparing everything with Sri Ramakrishna, with his Ishta. And that was like the sky. It was not affected by any situation about himself. That is what is called Navabat, like this cause, and Navas Tadvat. That's why he was not affected. So many examples of so many saints in Swami Chetananand writes about some saints how they were thinking of the death. One Swami was in the deathbed, and our Maharaj went there, Chetananandji. He seemed to be very jolly. Oh, come here, sit down. How are you? Maharaj, I have heard that it's last time it will go. Arey, I am very eager to know how the death happens. I have experienced so many things in life, but I have not experienced that. I don't remember. It will be a new thing to experience how the death comes and how life finishes and how I transmigrate or I become merged in the infinite. What happens the death? I am curious to know about that. How this monk was taking death as a play, death as something that you go to a movie and want to see what is the story in this movie now. I'm curious to know this. Or go to some place, go to Australia and say, what is Australia is about? I've heard so much about Australia. I want to see what. Like that was, he was curious to experience death, his own death. And next morning he passed away. Next morning he went and said he passed away. Another said, another Swami, he went and he was sad that Swami said, why are you worrying? Now the time comes, their Holy Mother and Thakur will come. Finally, I didn't see them in life. Finally, I will see them. They will come. And to my death, they have said it can't be any untrue. Whatever Thakur and Mother have said, they have to accept that. And tomorrow, soon, Thakur and Mother will come. I will be able to see them. What a glorious moment that will be, waiting for that glorious moment. One was curious, another was knew that it was a wonderful thing coming, and he also passed away soon. And there was light in his face, and by that it felt that Thakur and mother must have come to receive this their child. So like that, so many stories. They are not worried for even death. What to say about having something, pain in the limb, falling down and having the hip fracture? These things all happen. These things will be happening when we grow old. That pain will come and all that. They are not affected by these things. They are Navas Tadvat. They are like Nava, like the sky, unaffected by anything that happens to their body. And when you know you are the Atma, you are the all pervading this reality in which this body, whom you call this monk, also in that reality, it's just a show going on, it's a magic going on, it's a play going on. In reality, I am not this body. I am the space in which these bodies are floating, bodies, small bodies like ants and human beings, and big bodies like Earth and the sun and the moon, and the bigger bodies like galaxies, and if there are more universe, and all that are floating in the Atman that I am. Even the space that we see, which in which the whole universe is there, that is also floating in me. I am the Atman beyond even the space, so untouched by anything, and so broad I am. That's how they compare themselves. And the knowledge of the Atman or the Brahman has come. Aham Brahmasmi. Their eye sense is of the Brahman, not a small person, of always insecure, always afraid of how one person will deal, what will happen to me, when will I go and become sick, what when perhaps I will become blind when I am 90. What is there blind and not blind when you are 90? Who says you will be 90? You may die any day. And if suppose you are blind, then what is harm? You will get food, you will live. There are so many blind, they live in the world. Like that, you will live for a few years, then you will die. So nothing to worry. Why to worry if you are, when you are realize that Atman is the reality? Body will go change. It will grow old, it will be ineffective, there will be disease, and finally it will fall. But what is falling? Not I, it is the body. And where does it fall? In the Atman. Nothing reduces in the Atman, no change in the Atman. Atman is like the sky. How this realized soul, this Brahmana or Avadhuta considers Akasa as the reality, and the person who has realized the Atman, the truth of the self, behaves like the Akasa. So many things he got from the sky. Just see the learning, knowledge, inspiration that he got from the sky. That's why he could say, sky or the space is one of my gurus. I learned from my gurus. That's what I saw outside. Let's go to next verse. Verse number 44. स्वच्छ प्रकृतितः स्निग्धो माधुर्यस्तीर्थभूर्निर्णाम मुनि पुनात्यपाम मित्रम ईक्षो पस्पर्श कीर्तनई. Wow, very nice. Now comes next of the 24 gurus. What is next? We had Prithvi, Vayu, Akasham done. Now, Prithvi, Vayu, Akasham, Apognis, Chandrama, Ravi. Now, Apa, water. Water is another teacher from which I learned so much spiritual knowledge I got from Akasha, from Apa, from water. What you got knowledge from water? Spiritual message from water? Then Edu must have thought, and to Edu, this Avadhuta is saying, Swachha Prakrititah Snigdha. Prakrititah, by its very nature, it is Swachha and Snigdha. It is pure and it is Snigdha is sublime. It is sublime and pure. And Madhuryas Tirtha Bhur Niram. And Madhurya, it is Madhura, it is sweet. Sweet, sublime, and pure. That is the nature of water. And like that is the realized person. He is sweet, he is pure, and he is sublime, unagitated, sweet in behavior, because he is not affected by anything bad around him. He always rejoices in the purity of his Atman. So there is charm and sweetness in that person, like the quality of water. Tirtha Bhu Nirnam, like that Nirnam is that person is Tirtha Bhu. He is like the Tirtha. Now, Tirtha is, we know that way. I want to go to Tirtha like pilgrimage. One thing about the pilgrimage is holy places. That is the common term for Tirtha. But Tirtha also means water. Wherever there are holy places, there is water is associated. How you can think of Varanasi without Ganga? The Uttara Vahini Ganga, the Ganga that flows towards north, that is Varanasi. And also that is Uttara Kashi. Kashi in the north also, a small portion of the river that flows towards north. So different from the flow of Ganga at other places. All other places, Ganga flows from north to south. Or, and here the Ganga flows from south to north. This little portion, again, it will come, turn and come towards, flowing towards south. That's why it becomes so holy. So, Tirtha Varanasi is the Tirtha. Another Tirtha is Prayagraj. Why it has become Tirtha? In fact, Prayagraj is Tirtha only because of water. Nothing else is there. There is no big temple like Vishwanatha temple or Jyotirlinga. What is the main center of pilgrimage? Just the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna and Saraswati. Prayaga Raja. This Prayaga means confluence. Raja means a great confluence of great rivers. So that is the most holy place. The Prayaga Raja, it's Tirtha. So all other places like in Kedar, famous for the Kedarnath temple, but that is also the river is there. Mandakini river is there. Badrinath, there is Alakananda river is there. Everywhere, somewhere, you see the this big pilgrimage coming, same temples, famous temples. Everywhere, something of water is there, either river or ocean. Rameswaram, Kanyakumari, wherever you say, there are some river. What about Dakshineswar? What about Belur all there is river associated. So it's, where there was no river, there is a tradition to make a water body there. They have the water body near the temple. That has been our tradition. So water is the one that is Tirtha. Even they say the Varanasi was a Tirtha even before Ganga came. So what about the water? Vishnu dug there a Manikarnika. That they dug there a pond. It was called Manikarnika. That is a pond. Even before the Ganga came to the earth, that is the saying. That pond is still there and near the Manikarnika Ghat. And that's how it was a Tirtha there even before that. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. The holy places become holy because of the visit of the holy person, sages visit there. That's why it becomes the tirtha. It becomes the holy. The holiness of the holy places is because of the holy people visiting there, as if they leave the holiness, sacredness, purity there, and the other people who go there absorb that, feel that holiness and become pure. Some goes and puts there, like someone puts there's something, money or something, other goes and takes that for themselves and become rich. Here that becoming rich is not of money or material thing, but the holiness. They all go there and they become holy. When Ganga was asked to go to this Martyaloka or our world, then Ganga, who is to flow in the heaven, she was very upset. And she said to Lord, I go there, and there are so many sinners in the world, so many evil persons, wicked persons, and they will all dip in me, and they will be purified. But what will happen to their impurity? I will have to take all those impurity. Then I will become impure. You are sending me from Ganga like thing to this world. I don't agree to go. Vishnu said, why are you worried, Ganga? In the world, it is not only evil and bad persons there. There are also good persons. There are also pure souls. There are sages. There are the Brahmagyanis. There are the true bhaktas there. As these evil sinners will come to take deep in you and they will be purified, there will be pure souls, holy people. They will also come to take deep in you. They are more holier than the sinner they come to you. So you will have positive points more added to you than your negative point being added to you. So it become holier It become more holy than what you are in heaven, because there will be these people coming. And Ganga then agreed to go by saying that. So tirthi kurvanti tirthani, holiness of the holy place is by the holy people they visit there. Human holiness is so important, as it is said, the the human heart, the heart of a devotee is the Vaikuntha, is the Baitak Khana of God. It is a parlor of God. So wherever they go, they bring God and that holiness and blessedness that go there. Like that, water is said to be so holy and purifying. Don't you remember once? Uh, Somebody who felt herself to be impure by touching something on the ground, and she said, I want to go to the river and take a dip in the winter season, cold weather, and she was ready to go just to take a dip, tirtha jala, to purify herself. The water is supposed to be purifying, and among those purifying water, the most purifying water, all the tirthas, Gange Mune Chaiva, Saraswati, Narmade, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jalesmin, Sannidhi, Kuru, as we said, 7 holy rivers, Kaveri, Sindhu, Saraswati, all those rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, all those rivers. But among them, most purifying is said to be the Ganga. Ganga river, if you read the Shankaracharya Stuti is there, Ganga Stotra, Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange. So Ganga purifies the person who takes dip in you. Not only that, who just sprinkles your water, he becomes purified. Who just sees you, he becomes purified. So powerful is your purity. One who just remembers you, that person became purified. Such is the glory of Ganga. When we give Jai in the name of Ganga, Jai Sri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai, Jai Mahamai ki Jai, Jai Shami Ji Maharaj Ji ki Jai, Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai. Why you give Jai to Ganga Mai sitting here in Canada, in Toronto? Ganga Mai is so far away in India, in Belur in Kashi, in Gangotri. Why you give Jai here? Because it is a symbol of purity. By remembering Ganga, we become purified. So this is a symbol of purity. That's why we give the glory in the name of glory to the Mother Ganga. That's what it is said. So here also it is said, by very nature, the water is pure, sublime, and sweet. And tirtha bhu, like the tirtha bhu, like the tirtha, for the human beings, it purifies other human beings. Similarly, Muni Punatyapam Mitram Iksho Sparsa Kirtanai. Similarly, Muni, the realized person, the spiritual person, Punati Apam, like the water, Apam Mitram, compared to water, Punati, he also purifies. The realized soul, true devotee, embellished person, he also has the power to purify like the water. We got this from water said. So, how does it purify? In water, you take a dip or you sprinkle, that will purify. You cannot sprinkle the muni in your head or at your head, then how will you purify? That it says, Iksha upasparsa kirtanai. By 3 methods, the saints purify nrinam for the human beings. What are these? Iksha, by just seeing, by visiting them and having the darshan of the holy person, man becomes pure. Just coming in close to them, just by iksha. Then upasparsa, and if you touch their feet, then what to say? You become purified like touching the holy Ganga, sprinkling water, or taking a dip in Ganga. But just by touching the feet of a holy person, you become purified. There is another third way that this Muni can become Punati. How they purify us? By Kirtanai. When we sing the glory of these purified great holy persons, that also purifies. You talk about the monks. There is a book called Story of the Vedantic Monks. By reading that, you keep being the association with those monks. And that purifies you. You'll feel so much joy and happiness by reading that book. Prachin Sadhuder Katha in Bengali, and the story of Vedanta monks. Swami Chitananandji's books, he has collected from so many monks, little incidents, and a beautiful book has come. That is the company of holy, and that holy company is like going to a tirtha and taking dip there and being purified by these great souls who are swachha, prakritita swachha, snigdha and madhura. They are by very nature, they are pure, they are sublime, and they are sweet. So by reading them, by thinking of them, by talking about them, we feel so much joy. People often devotees, they say, "Will there be some talk?" They say, "Let us talk something about," and they want to talk about the monks, about holy persons, and talking about them. Kirtana is the singing glory, and this talking also you can say a form of kirtana. That purifies the human being like the tirtha, water of the tirtha purifies by touching it, by taking a dip in it, or by even seeing, even living near the Ganga. If you read that Ganga Stotram of Shankara, in that he said, "Oh, it's so wonderful. Even I want to become a fish to live in you, oh Mother Ganga. Maybe I would like to stay near you, make a hut near you, and stay on your bank. That will be so glorious, so much love." Our Holy Mother has so much love for Ganga. So that's how the temple, small little temple in Belur where Holy Mother's body was consigned to fire. That temple faces towards Ganga. No other temple faces towards Ganga in Belur All faces a different way. But this faces towards Ganga. Why? Because mother loved to see Ganga. Just seeing the Ganga, it is so holy, and that's why mother is always seeing Ganga whenever the temple is open, and when she is divine, we always feel she is seeing the Ganga. Sometimes we impose human form and say night time she is resting, but does God ever take rest? So Sri Ramakrishna asked Swami Adbhutananda, "What do you think? God is God resting now? It's night time." Um, so Advaita didn't answer. Sri Ramakrishna said, "No, God doesn't take rest any time. God is always awake so that you can sleep." So that's how Divine Holy Mother is always awake for us, for our good. She's always taking care of. There's no time that, "Oh, Holy Mother, you pray to Holy Mother," and Holy Mother said, "Oh, I couldn't listen. I was sleeping, my dear boy." It did not happen that way. But as a doing the puja, we try to do according to Dvaita Bhava and say, "Holy Mother is now eating, now she's sleeping, now she's resting," like that thing. We do it. We close this time, open this time, that all the deities are done that way. But the Holy Mother, the Shakti, the Mahamaya, the Divine Mother, the Mother of the universe, she's always awake and taking care of her creation. So here, water and the Muni is compared so beautifully by this Avadhuta power to purify. We will close here today. So up to fire, up to water it came, and as you Apo Agni was another thing. How Agni is compared. Prithvi, Vayu, Akasam, Apo, Agni, Chandrama, Ravi. So after that will come Agni. One verses for that. For Prithvi, there were so many verses he described. For others now, one verses for each guru that he will dedicate that. And here, maybe few verses for other things, but for water, only one. And next will come how the fire can be, fire can be like a guru. What are the spiritual qualities in fire that can be compared to realized persons who try to adopt and emulate those qualities from fire, or the ordinary human being in their sadhana should try to emulate those qualities to have the realization or spiritual growth. Here, Avadhuta will say, Sri Krishna brought this beautiful story to Uddhava, what you need to do to become always immersed in the spiritual awareness. So you have to be that in the words of that Avadhuta, you have to get all these qualities: detachment, endurance, forbearance, purity, and non-attachment, taking care of everything, having the power to even purify others by becoming so broad that you accept everyone, so much of love for everyone without any distinction, that you can make the whole world your own. When Holy Mother says, make the whole world your own, what does it mean? World has all types of people, good and bad, acceptable and non-acceptable. All people are there, but feel that they are all your own people. Don't, then only you will find peace in life, that make the whole world your own, my child. No one is alien, no one is separate, no one is to be thrown off, so thrown out. So like that, Holy Mother saying is because this is the reality, this is the spirituality. Here also he says, be broad and accept everyone as your own. That will purify such type of mind. If you have that type of mind, will be powerful to purify others. Without purification you cannot think that way. You are already purified to think yourself, to become yourself so large hearted and broad minded. And now when you have become so purified to harmonize everyone within you, then you gain that power, mm, like the tirtha, to make others pure, make pure in your presence. You will find that whenever there is problem and worries and anxieties, people try to go to temple, pray to God, and more effectively to the people who are holy people, like monks or some sadhakas, and sometimes the people who they find are really holy and wise, householder, doing everything. But they are also good, sattvika person, friendly person. They always try to do good to others without any consideration. Naturally, thoughts of those people come, and we try to go to them to just have conversation, just to find the thing. And really, you feel comforted by talking to them. They have the power to make you feel less agitated. How it happens? Because they have purified themselves. They can accept everyone. Those you may feel friendly. Another person comes who might be criticizing that person, who might be saying many things against him. If that person comes to that person with some problem in life, that person will say not reject and throw that person out. That person will say, come, this is the way they do. They're so broad-minded, all accepting, samanvaya harmoniously, taking everyone as their own. This is the qualities that he found from Akasha and from Vayu and from Apa or water. That water is as Snigdha and as it is Madhura. Like that is by Prakriti Snigdha, Swachha and Madhura. Scents are exactly like that. They have become purified, they have become sweet, and they have become sublime in their life. And when we approach them, we become purified. We find peace of mind. We find ourselves being elevated spiritually. We find the kind of joy unspeakable when we meet such type of person. So the thing is, we have to make everyone as our own. Don't say this person is good, that person is bad. God has made all that by samskara, they are that. But what the person is not that, how he behaves or she behaves. It is a person is the divine that dwells in that. It's all goodness there. And covering, you see that manifesting goodness and badness. Somewhere glass is dark and the smoke is there, and that's why you cannot see the light of divine. And you say it is dark, it is black, I don't want that. It is dark, I don't want that person, no light coming. That person, so much light coming. Light is always there, only the glass is tainted. And by your presence, your purity, can you clean his glass that covers the light? Your presence, your talk, your feeling, your goodness will make that stain removed, and you'll find light in that person also. So to be able to clean the heart of others, you have to make your own heart so bright and clean and pure. That has the power. You grow, then you get the power to make others purer. So that power is possible, and what great joy it will be to be able to make others, help others in the path of spirituality, and accept the other person as that person is and make them a better person, better person. That's why Sri Ramakrishna accepted everyone. Sri Ramakrishna, you can say, is God. How can we do? We are very, but we have to be firm in the purity, in our thought, in our acceptance of everyone. That's what Avadhuta says, accepting the sky and the air and the fire and the earth as his gurus, few of his 24 gurus. Thank you so much for today's attending the today's scripture class. Next Friday again we'll do. Next Friday perhaps is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We'll have the sweet words of Sri Ramakrishna again. That's also Madhura, Snigdha, Swachha. His very words are so sweet, so pure, so much powerful that it touches our heart. And listening to them, as it said, Kirtanai, talking about them, is also purifying, like the Tirtha purifies by, by touching, by seeing, by singing the glory. That is purifying, seeing glory of a realized person. Next week we'll be talking about Sri Ramakrishna's words, listening to that, and that will purify our heart. Now the closing chants. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Good night to everyone.